All right, it's time for preview number 2 of the Warhammer community kind of set of reveals. Now, I'm not necessarily sure if these were all planned for Adepticon, but I believe that they were, and they're now being spread across 3 weekends, with the 3rd weekend coming out on the 18th of April for our previews. But let's just dive in here. There is a lot to cover. So our very first one, of course, is the one I'm probably most excited for, is the new Lumineth boxed army. And actually, I'm not one to say, hey, jump on these boxed armies as soon as you can, because more often than not, they're not the best deal. You don't get like a full unit of stuff, or you can't really put most things together. But I think starting with some of the more recent trends of this stuff, it's gotten better and better. And I actually find this video pretty damn funny, to be totally honest. And this one in particular is even more noteworthy than the Sisters of Battle one. So the Sisters of Battle one came with a lot of cool things, but this one comes with even more. So you're going to be getting, we'll take a look at this as soon as it's done with its little cool intro. So take a look at that. I mean, that's pretty sick, right? So you get the special Lumineth Realm-lord dice, which are like unnecessarily $40. But then you also get, it's probably a special edition, not the limited edition codex, but a special edition codex that they release with the army box, much in the same way that they did with the Sisters of Battle. The Sisters of Battle had 3 versions of the codex: the standard, the limited, and then the army box version. I have the army box version, and I love it. We also get some objective markers over here. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the Cav, some of the Sentinels. I think it's a box of 10, and then Eltharion himself. So I actually think, in all honesty, this is a pretty solid. Oh, and the cards as well. The War Scroll cards. So I think in all honesty, this is a really solid box. It also comes with an abridged version of the core rules, which is awesome too. If you haven't seen the Hammercast where Lore Master of Sotek and I talk about that abridged version is pretty much everything you need to know to get started in the game, because they're online for free, but they have to get updated so frequently. So it's a pretty nice little addition here, and I think that this is the box I will be getting. Barring, of course, some further reveals of Lumineth. I know we still haven't received any word on any of the wind or sky spirits that are aligned with the Lumineth Realm-lords, any units, anything like that. So that might leave room for Tyrion. We still have not seen Tyrion in the game, or in the Lumineth Realm-lords in any of their reveals. It's starting to become a little bit more apparent to especially a lot of people that this might be not the faction that Tyrion is a part of. That Tyrion might be coming in another faction, maybe more aligned with the quote-unquote supposed Knight-style faction that is supposed to be coming in Age of Sigmar. But we have another Age of Sigmar reveal coming later in this little trailer, in this article that we'll get to in a little bit, but I'm very excited for the Lumineth Realm-lords, and I think here's one of the biggest things I'm excited about. I want to see what these units look like in different color schemes, and you know that book's going to be chock full of like 5 or 6 different, like, hey, it's the Lumineth Realm-lords, well, here's a different Lumineth Realm-lord, and here's his specific connotation, like this one is aligned with mountain or something like that. I bet you there's going to be 4 or 5 sects or conclaves or something like enclaves or something like that. That is all different color scheme, because while I like this color scheme, I think it's a little too bland for me. I'd want a little bit more vibrant colors that pop a little bit. So not that white and blue don't, but I want to see something a little bit different here. So we'll see what happens. But one thing is, take a look at this special rule. So, Lumineth Realm-lords possess a natural skill and talent that far outstrips that of most other races. When combined with decades of martial training, this creates a warrior elite that can think faster, act more decisively, and fight more proficiently than any other. It's basically describing me. But during the combat phase, when it is your turn to pick a unit to fight, you can pick 2 eligible units instead of 1. If you do so, each of those units can fight one after the other in order of your choice. So, I expect to see a lot of like interesting kind of game-breaking rules like that. So we'll see what happens as this. We're finally starting to get some reveals on their rules. So that makes me think that we're possibly looking at a May launch time for these guys, because we're starting to hear a little bit more about their rules, or maybe a very late April pre-order schedule for that box set. So we'll see what happens in the coming weeks here. Blood Bowl, get their lovely little tree men added to the game. Now, I have not played the new Blood Bowl, but I do know for a fact that it is way better, way better. Like, just as far as like the presentation goes, the board, everything, the rules have gotten a little bit more streamlined. So if you do like Blood Bowl, I strongly encourage you to check this out. If you haven't played it, play Blood Bowl 2, the video game. It's very well done. You are looking at about, I would say 45 minutes to an hour invested per game if you're playing with a friend. But I think that it does everything that the tabletop does in a very like true to form fashion, and it plays exactly like it does on the tabletop. So I definitely encourage you to check out Blood Bowl 2 if you're not wanting to jump into Blood Bowl, the board game, just yet, as a precursor to jumping into the board game. I like this new parallax that they're doing here. This little parallax, little web thing. So Horus Heresy, we're also getting some fun stuff. We're getting Space Marine Legions each have colorful praetors to lead their armies, and these sinister fellows are exactly who you'd expect to see plotting alongside Zardu Zut-Layak or leading the Gal Varbak into battle. Of course, as everyone knows, the word bearers were heretics before it was cool, meaning both models will make cracking additions to a Warhammer 40k Chaos Space Marine army too. So, more stuff coming out from the 30k range. Last time we got the Lions model revealed, and it was beautiful. And I mean, these are really badass looking word bearer models. And I think that's one thing I've really enjoyed about the Horus Heresy series, is bringing these really cool, larger than life style characters to the board game. Because remember, you can use 30k models in 40k, and some 30k models have special 40k rules. So Cataphract Armor Terminators have finally made their way to the loyalist side of 40k because of 30k. So if you are a big Warhammer 40k player that plays Space Marines or Chaos Space Marines, definitely take a look at this range. I think it's absolutely worth your viewing. I mean, especially like, I think of the Blood Angels and like their special like Blood Paladins or whatever they're called, like their special Cataphracti armor Paladins are really sick. Like, there's so many different types of units that you can bring into a 40k army from 30k. So very awesome there. Now, Middle-earth has gotten another little supplement here, Quest of the Ringbearer, in which case we're going to be getting 2 new Rangers, Anborn and Mablung, Rangers of Ithilien. I honestly think that the Rangers are probably one of my favorite, I don't want to say races, but favorite distinctions or classes, quote unquote, of Lord of the Rings, and especially the Dunedain. So I really just, Lord of the Rings lore is something I've always wanted to go into on the channel, because I could wax poetic for hours and hours and hours on it. But it's something that's so done and so in depth on so many other places that I feel like I wouldn't do it the justice that it deserves. But I think that what is really cool about Lord of the Rings Middle-earth strategy battle game is that it takes the cinematic universe that was created, right, by Peter Jackson, and it takes models that were never in the movies, and it puts them into that cinematic universe with that spin, with that aesthetic. So you get a lot of the really cool things like Glorfindel or the Knights of Dol Amroth. You get them brought into Middle-earth strategy battle game in that same aesthetic. So if you are a huge fan of Lord of the Rings, and you do like a lot of the stuff from the books that didn't really make it into the movies, check it out on Middle-earth, the game, because the game's rules are really cool, and they're pretty diverse, and it's a very low model count, like low impact game to get into. So I definitely think it's worth getting into to kind of take a look if you're a huge Lord of the Rings fan. But we have a trailer to watch together, my bros. Let's boot it up. Is this on HD? I want you on the Hest of Ds. Space Marine battle barge is going hog wild right now. Looks like we got some Imperial naval elements in there. I'm seeing some Chaos battle barge. Yeah, so that's definitely Imperial Navy. So anytime you see like this big, huge beak, that is the Imperial Navy. And anytime you see that kind of prong thing, it's a Space Marine battle barge. There's other distinctions, of course, but it's just kind of like the best summarization. Those big gleaming brass, bronze, gold beaks are typically indicative of Imperial Navy. Typically. Ooh, Tyranid or Tyranid Splinter Fleet here. As to be expected when you're fighting against Blood Angels.
I do not need to tell you, old friend, that even in victory we will likely meet our end here. In victory.
Raphael, the famous painter and also chaplain of the Blood Angels.
We will likely meet our end here.
I like what they've done here, where they've desaturated all the color and oversaturated all the red. Boop, boop, boop. Sort of ball right there.
Then our duty is done.
Fucking cool. Rage descends. So I'm gonna bring the sound down like all the way. Actually, I'm just gonna mute it. No, I'm not muted. Let's not cheat ourselves with that. So, one thing that's it's pretty talked about a lot in the books, especially in the Horus Heresy books or any like Space Marine book, especially the Night Lord ones too, where there is a lot of space battles in the Night Lord trilogy by Aaron Dembski-Bowden. They talk a lot about the crushing distance between ships when they get in any kind of interstellar engagement, and the crazy thing about it is it's a lot of waiting. That was one of the first things in the first 3 trilogies of the Horus Heresy, where it talks about Horus and how he's a brilliant tactician when it comes to space warfare, and how the waiting doesn't make him stir crazy like it does so many other people. But it's talking about how these torpedoes, these batteries, have to charge through thousands of miles of space. Macro battery is a little bit more short range, but as you kind of progress through this, you see these ships moving very quickly in ways that are a little bit more uncharacteristic to the way the lore portrays them, and I'm very okay with that. You know, like I wouldn't want to see a ponderously slow battle barge moving next to a very slow Tyranid Leviathan, just kind of like pooping stuff back and forth at each other, and then having it cut down to the earth and saying they're dying up there. Like, I don't know, that's dumb. So I like that they've taken like a very fast, heavy hitting approach. And you do get stuff in the lore, though, of course, where you have battle barges sweeping. Sweeping underneath each other and shooting into things. Like, there's one really awesome portion in the very first book for the Night Lords trilogy, where they take the ship and they go forward, then barrel roll under, basically shoot boarding pods, then come back up and just give like a full broadside. So obviously these ships are capable of moving fast and diving and darting through a lot of debris like this, but it is less portrayed like that in the lore, and it's cool they're taking this kind of heavy hitting fast action for the Angels of Death. And I would expect you to take that if you're especially doing a cinematic version of 40k. Like, you got to show hard hitting, heavy, fast gore. So I'm stoked they took that approach for Angels of Death, and I'm really excited to see this bad boy come out. Like, I love that we're kind of getting this big step towards more and more and different varieties of animation. We have an anime basically coming. We have this more realistic looking 3D coming. And then we also have, this one right here, which is a little bit more, well, it's not as realistic, of course, as this nicely rendered 3D images or this one right here. So we'll see more of these animations coming in, hopefully the next reveal on April 18th. Another reveal, though, for Age of Sigmar is the Sons of Behemat. Now, this means that Behemat is one of the zodiacal beasts. Zodiacal beasts are these very large, huge, like cosmically large, not monstrosities, but just cosmically large creatures in the cosmos of Age of Sigmar. They go in between realms and so on and so forth. So now we're going to be getting the Sons of Behemat as far as the new giant race to be added to the game. Now, we don't necessarily know the scale of this. Is it going to be like Ogre Kingdoms and Giants, or is it just simply going to be a ton of giants? We'll find out more, of course, as probably on April 18th when we get that next set of reveals. But the Sons of Behemat are coming in hopefully a big way. They might even do like a little teaser on Warhammer Community in the coming weeks or so. For those of you new to the Mortal Realms, Behemat is one of the zodiacal god beasts, an entity of unspeakable power from the Age of Myth. For those of you wondering, we are currently in the Age of Sigmar, which the precursor was the Age of Chaos, and then before that was the Age of Myth. So this is way back. So we can't tell you much about this battle tome yet, save that it'll let you field an army of Gargants, and nothing but Gargants. May even well see some brand new ones. So a lot of excitement for this new Destruction battle tome in Sons of Behemat. And then another reveal for our Psychic Awakening Pariah. It was rumored that Sisters of Battle would be getting another portion of the Psychic Awakening, and here it is in Psychic Awakening Pariah, and I'm stoked on it. They're also reprinting the graphic novel that the two characters, Ephrael Stern, as well as starts with a K, Kyniel, are going to be showcased in. So they're in that graphic novel, Demonofuge. But that will be coming alongside that, and they're awesome looking models. And the cool thing about this is that she can be fielded in a Sisters of Battle or any Imperium force. So she will bring Psyker abilities to the Sisters of Battle, which do not have access to that in their entire codex. You would need to bring in an Inquisitor or anything else from an allied contingent or allied battalion or attachment to their army. So this is pretty exciting because it does, again, give access to psychic powers to the Sisters of Battle, which many people have seen as a weakness of the Sisters. Personally, I have seen it as kind of a strength because every single unit of the Sisters of Battle has a Deny the Witch roll that they can take on a 1d6. And there are plenty of ways to boost that 1d6 and make it just disgusting. So adding Ephrael Stern here, Jesus, will really kind of bolster that. And also the rules for Kaganil as well will kind of really help defend her because he is a Harlequin. So there's going to have tons and tons of just straight melee killing ability. Probably a lot of mortal wounds being dished out from him. But that'll be coming, again, with its own graphic novel reprint, which is really exciting, I think. And then that will be coming with Psychic Awakening Pariah. I don't think we have a set release date here for that. No. Before long, White Dwarf will be bringing you juicy new Psychic Awakening rules for the Death Watch and Harlequins. Neat, eh? So, that pretty much sums up everything here for this reveal today, guys. I know it's a big one. We covered almost a full 20 minutes of this, but we do have another one on the 18th. We are waiting to get more info on the bigger reveals for the War of Spider. We did get that reveal for... what's his name? Fabius Bile, so we know at least what that model looks like and how awesome it is compared to its old one, and the kind of where the sources really come from. So there's a lot of really exciting stuff coming with Warhammer, and I'm excited for April 18th to find out even more. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Let me know what you're excited about and what you want to see coming in the coming weeks here. One last thing here is, of course, if you do spend $50 in any of their vouchers, so every 50, they will add an extra £5 for free. So I guess dollars wise, you could say that's like an extra $7.50 or something like that. But either way, if you want to buy any virtual vouchers, you get extra money for buying them in increments of 50. But again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching here today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that kind of action. But have a good one and take care.